see all the grease and grime, fingerprints and mess I got to clean up. It is what it is. Running good. Fuel pump's holding good pressure right here.
Man, what a summer we have had. It has been breakdown after breakdown, bad luck after bad luck. But you know what? Hey, what don't kill us makes us stronger. And I learned a lot this summer and learned a lot more about engines that I didn't know before. And got the old Cruiser back going. Thank you, Jesus, for that one. I appreciate your help because he helped me more than anybody has because my patience and my strength was wearing down. So it's been a good summer, though. I hate to see it winding down in my boat just now getting back on the water, but it's all right. You know, it'll be ready for next year, and I've still got a little time to use it this year and enjoy it. So I'm not complaining. But I hope you enjoy the show. I'm sorry I've been out of pocket for a while and, you know, not been doing a lot, but I've been so, this is always my excuse, but it's the truth. I've been so busy. I work, you know, every day, weekends, holidays, bad weather, it don't matter. And trying to put this boat back together at night, it's been a chore. But y'all hang out with me. This is a little bit of a longer video than I usually post, but you'll have some beautiful scenery at the end if you can make it through the mechanics at the beginning. I'm gonna show you a couple of little tips and tricks if you're working on a boat motor that might help you out. Excuse me, Captain Kelly, why am I not catching fish?
Because you're a sucky fisherman.
No, you're the
yeah.
captain. Well, I got deeper into it and got a lot more problems than what I thought I had. It's like the more I find and get parts for, the more I find it's wrong. I can say this, as bad as my feelings was hurt that I didn't get to go to Florida a few months ago because everything was going wrong, had it happened, it could have very well been a lot of problems, maybe even sinking, like can't get it back to shore in time if it was rough seas. So as much as it sucks, Kelly always says everything happens for a reason, and I can't stand that because she says it all the time, but you know, maybe that did. And I need a drink. And I ain't been drinking much lately, but boy, these things right here will make you drink. But I found where the block had freeze cracked. Well, a freeze cracked block ain't no good. You know that. Now, a lot of people JB weld them. You can have them with corn stitched or something like that. But do that cold welding, cold fusing thing, you know. I don't know enough about it to say that it's a good thing or a bad thing. The guy I talked with, he swore by it, said he'll guarantee his work. I'll never have another problem out of it. But just being me and being who I am, it's always, my cousin said it best, it's like a little man dancing in the back of your mind. And no matter where you're going, what you're doing, trying to sleep on the boat, offshore out in the Gulf or in the Atlantic or even on the lake or anything, it's gonna be in the back of your mind, that block's got a crack in it. Block's got a crack in it, and it was cracked on both sides. Even though it's repaired, it's gonna be like, that block's got a crack in it, it's been repaired. So I just couldn't bring myself to spend, I was looking at about $1,000 to have it fixed. I couldn't spend $1,000 and then not be able to lay down at night and sleep on it without it bothering me. So what I've done is, my motor's got, when I bought it, about 120 hours, probably got about 180, less than 200 hours, probably 180 hours, maybe 170, 180, because this boat don't get run a lot. It gets run out to where it's going, it gets the anchor dropped, I get out to grill, and that's where I stay till I'm ready to come home. So it ain't never really been run that much, and I've never had a problem with it. Had I not pulled this motor, I'd never known the block was cracked because you couldn't see it. And when I had the motor out and I was under there, then I noticed what's called rust jacking, and the paint was, you know, bubbling out, and I could see just a little tiny crack. It finally showed itself, but it wasn't leaking. The other side had a crack like an oval, and I just didn't want to take that chance. And I'll try to get a picture of the cracks and show you what I'm talking about and kind of splice it into the video where you can see where I'm talking about the rust jacking and what I mean. The crack is right there. You can see the crack. But I just couldn't do it. I can't lay on that boat and sleep, and I can't take my family out in, 4, 6, 8-foot swells, 3-foot waves, whatever the situation may be, because you can be out in the ocean and everything's smooth and beautiful, and in 15 minutes it'll change, 30 minutes it'll change. So I can't have my family out there. Even if I didn't worry about myself, I cannot have my family out there and take that risk. So what I'm going to do is I have a donor block, Vortex block. Hopefully it's showing, I don't really know. But that is a Vortex block. My boat is a 99, so my motor's a 99. Both of them's 880 blocks, both two bolt mains. So that's a 97 block of a truck that was in good condition, but it had a lower end rod knock. So it just had a bearing bad in it, but the block's fine. So I'm gonna knock the cam bearings out, and I'm gonna gut this my old motor, clean this block up, clean it all up, paint it, new seals, new cam bearings. If you look right there, you'll see copper. When you see copper in them cam bearings are bad. So I'm gonna clean all this up. I've done pressure washed it, got all the grease and crud and stuff off, and we soaked it down with degreaser, just left it, let it sit overnight again, and I'm gonna pressure wash it one more time today, degrease it one more time, and then pressure wash again, and then I'm gonna let it dry out, coat it all down with WD-40, all my cylinder stuff good with WD-40, let it sit, rinse it off one more time with degreaser. I want this block spotless, all up in the water jackets and everything. I want it clean, and that way I can come back and I can paint it. I've knocked all the freeze out plugs out, so I can put brass freeze out plugs in, finish cleaning up some of the gasket that's still on it, and get it all painted and clean, and hone my cylinders, cross hatch them, and slap her back together, baby. So what I'm gonna do is everything you see on this motor is fixing to be on this motor. Internals, externals, carburetor, fuel lines, electrical, all of it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's the situation. This is what I'm looking at. Y'all hanging there with me? We're fixing to build a motor. Hopefully it did. But in the process of all this, I've realized I've got a bad coupler. And on these couplers, the way you tell if these couplers are bad or not, when you get them apart, you got to look at those teeth. If those teeth are real sharp, well, that coupler's wore out. And mine's pretty sharp. So, about as wore out as I am. It was a long night. Plus, I worked all day. So I'm off today to try to get this fixed. But I ain't gonna be able to get it done today. There's no way. I got too much stuff to check. I got a little trick for you I'm going to show you that I've learned working on this boat motor. It makes life a whole lot easier. Your exhaust logs, that thing right there, it's called an exhaust log if you got an inboard motor. All right, well, these inboards, they're a pain in the butt, man. I've been up several late nights, as you can tell, trying to put this thing back together. I'm tired now, but still got to work, still got to pay bills, so plus get this fixed at the same time. So the easiest way to do this is that I found, get you a bolt with the same thread as them head bolts. Go through that exhaust log. Cut the head of that bolt off. You follow me? All right. Now, when you look at your exhaust log over here, you got your holes in it. Usually, it's next to the furthest one away, right here. It's the one you want to stick it to. So look down here at your block and thread that bad boy in there. Four, 5, 6 good threads where you got plenty of thread to hold the weight. Excuse me, it's almost impossible to hold that dang thing up and guide it in at the same time without cross-threading your bolts. Them jokers are heavy. Plus, you gotta get your boots on at the same time. And unless you want to remove this top elbow this is the way to do it. All right, hopefully y'all can see this. It's not like I'm talking in a barrel where I'm talking down this engine compartment, but you can see I got my bolt threaded in there, a few threads. You know, maybe half a bolt. Something that'll hold that weight real easy for you and it won't strip it out. If you got a long enough bolt to go the whole way, you're probably better off to go the whole way, but that should be enough to hold it. I've got my bolts laying here ready to grab. Get this thing into position. Wish I'd done the other side on camera. It'd been a lot easier. All right. This thing ain't gonna tilt it easy. Have as much wiggle room with this side as the other side. Maybe it'll work out. Back here, you joker. There it is. Sliding it up just like that. I guess I didn't have the best angle in the world, but you got the gist of it. But once you put your front bolt and your back bolt in, just take your pair of pliers. Just work this old one right back out. It's almost there. There it is. There's the bolt. I see your exhaust manifold gaskets have little hooks on each end. So you put your rear bolt and your front bolt in. I don't guess it really matters. I like to put it with the beveled side facing out. Sit it right there on your bolts. Let her drop into place. It's backwards in good. It's sitting on the bolt, I can feel it. Let's just slide right up. Just to be sure everything looks good down in there, and it does. So it's just me being a little bit overly cautious. Because I don't want to pull this off and do it again. Got my fancy paint job dirty, but it'll wipe off. Just don't get crazy on them bolts because you can break them off in there. You have a little bit of exhaust leak, you can always torque it down a hair more versus breaking a bolt off in it. And I'm bad about that. Over tightening stuff. Always have been. I don't mean to be, but as I gotten older, I'm starting to learn. A whole lot easier to snug it up a little more later than it is to drill and tap and get a bolt out. Or weld a bolt to it to get it out. one of my rings that fell off. All right. So now you know how to put it on. There you go. All right, the Southern Bowie Outdoors 350 back in. It's been a job painting it, cleaning it, but it's back in, and it will run because I shot it with a little bit of ether before I put the exhaust logs on just to be sure. It will run. I've got to tweak the timing a little bit, put the serpentine belt on, all this cosmetic, back seat, all this stuff's got to go back in. I'm gonna build me some fishing rods. I'm probably gonna convert this dry box eventually to a live well, because I like where it is, and I'm gonna fix my seat where I can detach it very easily and have rods go across the back, rod holders. So I've got this. I got this all buttoned up. Now I've still got to put the outdrive on. I dread that, but you know, it is what it is. So the old motor's looking good. I got it in the Southern Bowie Outdoors black and green. I'm gonna eventually have the boat reupholstered with that color green, and some black pinstriping on the sides. I'm gonna redo the sides and stuff, and have Southern Bowie Outdoors put across the back, and then get with the Coast Guard and actually have the boat registered as that, so I don't have, it'll be known under that name. So yeah, I'm tired. It's been a long 5-6 weeks doing this, trying to work, building the engine, and I would have shown more about the engine build, but I'm just gonna be honest with you, I don't know what I'm doing. I've had a couple of good friends that's kind of pointed me in the right direction, helped me on a thing or two here and there, and call them if I had a question. And I've helped build a couple of motors. This is the first one that I've done this much of it by myself. I'm comfortable now. I could strip it and build it right now by myself. Probably still have a few questions because I'm old and I can't remember everything. But I'm proud of it. It looks good. I've got a boat needs a good cleaning. It's filthy. I've got grease and oil and whew, mess everywhere. So at least now I know it's done and it's done right. Right now I've got about 500 to 700 in this motor. It's a complete rebuild. So $1,000 to fix my old motor, not knowing how that motor's been treated prior to me, but it didn't look very good, it being cracked. And I'm lucky it held up as long as it did. I know what this motor is, so, and that motor only had like 130 hours on it, so I used the pistons, the rings, cam, crank, all that I used. The only thing I really had to do new on this truck block was put freeze-out plugs in it, cam bearings, because cam bearings were shot, paint it, clean it up. There's a couple of little differences in the truck blocks versus the boat blocks, but not enough to hurt anything as far as like screw holes and stuff. So I just had to make little brackets and stuff like for my oil filter dipstick tube, stuff like that. I had to make a little aluminum bracket for it, and it held fine. I just put a couple of zip ties on it just to make me feel better and keep it good and secure. It ain't back here shaking in waves and stuff like that. So, and once that block gets hot, it'll seal up that, it'll seal up that dipstick tube anyway. So, alright, well, gotta put the outdrive on. Let's get this bad boy on a water hose. Well, and the serpentine. She gonna be pretty. Alright, let's get it done. We're gonna dunk this bad boy. Let it run a while on the trailer, or I may just tie it off the dock, let it run on the dock. I don't know yet. Would it be easier? Probably easier just to unload it and tie it to the dock. This thing got crawl up over the nose. But it's raining and nasty. But I've been pressure washing in the rain. I'm soaking wet, as you can tell. But I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm just tired. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, worked all day, and then worked on this boat this afternoon. So if it does good and it runs out good, I can start putting my interior back in it after I get it clean, get all the grease out of it. I'm gonna go ahead and buff it, wax it, clean it up. And I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy. The good Lord is smiling on me. Get a little sunshine. A little more blue sky as I get closer. So we got her in the water. She's running good. You try to start it, it's like it wants to like kind of bog down, like it's getting too much compression or too much fuel or something. It's kind of holding it back. So I may have my timing advanced just a hair. But odds are it's where those rings haven't seated yet. There's still oil in those cylinders because I wiped them cylinders down with assembly lube. So when I was putting everything back together. So it may take a minute to get all that cleaned up and let them rings get good and seated. Of course, I put zinc in this oil change. It's just break-in oil. I'm using Pennzoil 1030 with zinc, with a bottle of Lucas zinc. Put 5-6 running hours on it and hopefully change the oil in it, put my Mobil 1 full synthetic back in it. Knock on wood, it'll give me good service. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a little tweak here and there I've got to do, but you know, it is what it is. I expect it. So I'm gonna go park a truck and we may take her for a spin, but I want to let it get good and warm and make sure nothing's gonna act crazy before I leave the dock, because I don't feel like swimming and that's too big of a boat to paddle. See all the grease and grime and fingerprints and mess I gotta clean up, but it is what it is. Good. Fuel pump's holding good pressure. I can really dig it. Guess where I'm at? Yep. I'm on that It's a Small World After All ride. Say hi to everybody at home. I said say hi to everybody on YouTube.
Oh, hi everybody on YouTube.
I'm videoing and I said I was going to call Captain Kelly. So far so good. It's running a little bit, like it's got a little more compression than it should have, but I think, and that's just when I started, and I think I may be a little bit too advanced on the timing, but I don't want to do anything just yet till I run it for maybe a half hour or so and get it warm and let them rings try to seat, because I coated those cylinders with assembly lube, and where they've been coated with assembly lube, it could, you know, it could be all it is. It's getting a little bit too much compression when it's trying to start. But it goes in gear good, pulls out good. The throttle's sensitive. When you back out of that throttle, she sits down. But I also adjusted the lower unit to where it would tuck lower back under the outdrive to where it comes out of the hole better. I'll lose a little bit of top end, but I can trim it and get that back. So, just stay close to your phone in case you have to hook my bass boat up and come get me.
I can't.
You'll have to, because there ain't nobody here to come get me. There's nobody on the water.
I can't. If the bass boat out, you have to lower it in front of the garage.
Shove it out of the way. Alright. Well, I love you.
I guess we can put that tire back on.
Yeah, just crank it and drive it forward enough to get it out of the way. But I love you. I'm getting off here. While I got battery. My battery's low.
I love you.
Tell everybody bye.
Okay. Okay, bye, everybody.
Look at that pretty sun. Well, sunset, kind of. I can barely see it through the clouds. Wet sucks. Alright, so I spoke with the Michael Paul Ford, the one and only, and he agrees with me that my timing probably needs to be back down just a hair. It's got a little bit of a little lunge to it, but not like a low lunge, like a little bit off on the high side, and it's a little sluggish on the start. So now that it's warmed up, I'm not going to shut anything off. I'm not going to do anything except put this bad boy back in gear and go right back to the dock. And when I get tied off, I will tweak the timing. That way, if it dies, I'm right there at the dock, and more rain's coming in. So it's beautiful though. The sky's gorgeous. This fog coming off the lake, but I can't be out here much longer because I'm having an issue with my trailer now. I've got one tail light working. I've got brakes and turn, but only one tail light. None of my markers, nothing else working. So I've got to wrap this up pretty quick. He says I'd probably be fine running around for a couple of hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, and 2,000, 4,500 RPMs, because we didn't do a complete brand new rebuild because all the parts didn't have any hours on to begin with. So, yeah. So he's back to the dock, and let y'all see the beautiful Old Hickory Lake. Let me get out of the way. It's gorgeous out here today. But we're going to ease back to the dock and take her with it a little bit for a few more minutes, and then call it a day, wrap it up, and take this bad girl home. So I'm very happy at the moment. Hopefully it stays that way. So let's take a ride. Tied off. Everything went good. Hey, so here's the deal. It's raining, it's nasty. So I'm gonna use some Dawn Platinum. It cuts grease. I'm gonna scrub all this boat down and just let it sit on it. It ain't gonna hurt anything. It'll help get some of these grease and oil stains out. And hope for the best. It's gonna take a lot of scrubbing still, but the Dawn does a good job. Now Dawn will strip your wax and stuff off your boat, but I don't care because I'm fixing to re-wax it, redo everything again for the second friggin' time this year. So, all right, let's get at it. And then let the rain settle on it instead of on me. So many people I need to thank. First of all, Michael Paul, my little buddy. We've been friends since high school. He is the motor guru. When I was stuck, he would walk me through it. He even showed up with a leg he just had surgery on crutches, trying to help me get my cam bearing set. Michael, I love you. Thank you so much. I couldn't have done it without you. There's no way. My cousin, owner of EEC Excavating in Lebanon, Tennessee, Whit, I love you, man. You hooked me up several times and helped me out when I didn't have nobody else, and I appreciate it. And Randall Cochran, I want to thank you for being the good friend you are and leaving me stranded out on the lake while you was at a party and not calling me. But I will give you credit for helping me run my trim tab wires, the other night before I realized the motor was trash. So thank you, Randall. And thank y'all for sticking with me through this boat rebuild and wasted most of the summer on the engine. But hey, we got it done, and blue water is still in our future. It's still a possibility. Y'all like, subscribe, tell your mama and them about us, and ring that bell.